Top of the day to you, honey bunnies. I'm so excited to see you. I have been having trouble coming up. I don't know. We've been having some kind of technical issues in the studio, so please forgive me. But top of the day to you. Welcome, welcome. Come on in and let's just sit and converse again. Look at all my honey bunnies. Hello, hello. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes. So today's topic is still about facing yourself. And it's so many different attributes and ways that dealing with facing yourself. Today is about forgiveness, the power of forgiveness. How do we forgive when we have been hurt, abused, misused, and have all this pain? Because a lot of pains can shape our lives. It has done it for our ancestors, and because of their issues, they had tried to something like a pearl. When a pearl gets some kind of irritation in it, what it does, it gives itself some type of comfort. And with that comfort, it makes a beautiful pearl. And sometimes we have, irritations that does not always become a pearl. Sometimes it brings anger, pain, hurt, it kills, it destroys. So therefore, if you're facing yourself, you got to look at your self-evaluation. I had the same issue too. At one time, I was very, very angry because I did not understand how or why, I'm having this issue, or why you know, I have not been chosen to do such and such. And that brought on, you know, hatred, it brought on unforgiveness, and it brought on pain. So with that pain, I start to treat other people differently, because of the pain that I endured. So facing yourself have to do with that. So how do we deal with this hurt, this unforgiveness, and how do we receive power from it? Okay. First, it's about self-evaluation. You have to face yourself. And my sister told me that one day, and it's so crazy that she ended up calling me today because she wanted to know whether or not that I was okay. Because sometimes with family issues and different things, we start to separate and go our own way. And sometimes family think that, we had different encounters, but it's not that. It's just life be life. And sometimes you cannot, communicate or go forth. But sometimes you have to reach out and touch someone and let them know it's, I'm here, you here. We don't have anything different between each other, but some people do, and they go back and think that it's because some type of hurt, some type of pain, in any type of situation. So you have to deal with that power. So what do you do with that power of forgiveness and within yourself as facing yourself? Because you're trying to be great, you're trying to heal, you're trying to go forth in life, to becoming whoever you were created to be. But first, you have to deal with some of these issues. And one of the issues we have to do with facing self. So as you look at yourself and you ask yourself, what is it about, this power that we have to deal with? How do we deal with this power of forgiveness? Do we continue to be angry with someone because of the things that they do? Sometimes you have to let it go. And I had to start telling people that I'm in a forgiving business. I forgive you. And forgiving others don't necessarily mean that you have to go back and befriend them or be in their company. I forgive you from a distance. I forgive you, that way the forgiveness mainly is for me. It's for me to heal. So when I stand before God, I'm clean. I'm clean because I don't let that go. And I let him handle that. So sometimes you have to let it go instead of taking that within your hand, within the power within your hand to do something to someone else. All right. So therefore, you have to just let it go. When you let things go, it gives you power more than it condemns you. And you think that that person got away with it, but they really didn't. You just released it from yourself because you want to grow. You want to be a better you. So it's about practicing like self-compassion in order to let go this pain of, someone that's done some kind of hurt and pain. And the pain goes deep. The pain runs deep because it could been um, through your family. It could be friends. It could be strangers. Someone could have, hurt you and abused you. And all that pain, it deals with you, and you are involved in that. So until you let it go in order for you to grow, and there's so many movies and stuff that's out nowadays dealing with that pain and hurt and retaliation and stuff like that. So you cannot let that overpower you, because therefore it has control over you. If you do not let that forgiveness go, it has control over you, and then you won't be able to go forth. And I had to let my pain go so I can go forth, because I didn't understand why I got to ask for forgiveness. And my sister told me it heals you. It's about you facing yourself. You let that go, and then you're able to be a better person instead of go about treating everybody else in that painful state. So that means that pain has power over you, and you have to release it. So you got to practice self compassion. So that's one of the things that you have to do. Be kind to yourself. Even with all of that hurt and pain. Some things, I couldn't even fathom, about when it comes to dealing with letting go pain. Because sometimes you want to hurt and you want to injure that person who hurt and injured you. But does it solve anything? Does that take away that hurt and that pain that you're experiencing? It may make you feel a little bit better for a little while, but at the same time, you still enduring that. You still enduring that. So what about seeking support? You want to seek support for that pain, because a lot of people is going through the same thing you going through, but they just deal with it in different ways. And it is a struggle to forgive others, considering, the things that they've done. It could have been rape. It could have been lies and abuse, and it's just so much. And you can see it in this world. This world is really, really hurting, and it's hurting because of past things that have been passed down to all of us. We all are in a situation, but we would not give that situation power to rule over us. So we are in the forgiving business. I forgive you. That don't mean that I have to fool around with you. That don't mean I have to sit in your company. I'm just gonna let you know that you have no power of me. Whatever you thought that you done to me, I forgive you. I forgive you. And that's what you have to say. And you have to walk on, or you just have to confront it, and like, look, you hurt me, and I don't understand why you felt or done whatever you did. And it could have been a whole bunch of misunderstandings, dealing with this hurt and this pain. Okay. And then it's because sometimes hurt people. And I know y'all have heard that before. Hurt people hurt people. And it's just crazy that, but I have known people that have been abused, raped, misused, and they did not let that, take their life. They had enough strength, they had enough support from others to go forth. And so we extending and we offering that same support to each and every one. So if, just come on in, we don't mind, you practice self-compassion and you seek support. And we're right here on this inspirational journey. There is ways, to this. There is a truth. You have to confront it and confess it. And then you live your life. You let go of all this hurt and pain. That way you can go forth. Or you take that hurt and pain and make it positive instead of a negative. All right. And then also I understand about resentment. Okay. You have to deal with that support to release some of this resentment, because I allowed resentment to shape my life too. Because of hurt, pains, and I don't understand why, but little did I know all things work together for the good. We say that and we don't see it while we're going through the process. But later on in life, it's like, oh, wow, because of this experience, I'm able to give a testimony. I'm able to help someone along their way, find the truth within themselves, and then that way they can let go and they can begin to enjoy their life. Okay. Communicate your forgiveness. So you have to express your forgiveness to the person, and we already talked about that, who done you harm. Or if you're not, you could talk to someone about how to give this power, some rest. So therefore, by forgiveness, you ask for the support, you ask for the help. Okay. Then you have to make a decision to forgive. It's about a decision too. You have to make that decision to forgive. That way that power comes back to you. When you forgive and you get support, you communicate and you practice self-compassion, you done took your power back. So that person or whoever harmed you do not have power over you anymore. Okay? So, and then it's about the offender. So try to understand the perspective of that person. Why did they abuse you or attack you in that situation when you have done nothing to them? you know and it's about, sometimes people just see the power in you before you see it in yourself, and so they try to put your light out or dim your shine. And you naturally have this light in you, and you got to remember you are a light, you are a spirit, and a bright light too, that you shine in all of this sunshine on others. And of course people want to harm you and do you bad by making your way, you know unpassable. But you allow them, if you allow them, or you can, like, no, I do not allow you, you know and I'm gonna forgive you because I'm in a forgiving business. But at the same time, you're wrong for that. And there's nothing wrong with telling people because they're hurt you. You hurt me. There's nothing wrong with confessing instead of, being hurt and taking that wound and going off and, and licking it, until it get infected or it has some type of growth or whatever. You can release it and let it go. You can confront that person. You hurt me. You lied on me. You abused me. You used me. Why? But a lot of people sometimes do not have a question or an answer why. It's because they've been hurt and abused too. So you never know what is what. But it's all about you. It's not about them. It's about you facing yourself. You need to heal. You need to forgive in order to go forth. And then when people see you, you can share your testimony. You can share your story about how you was captivated by, this power, that, hurt you or abused you. And now you can let it go. You can let it go by forgiving. Look past what they've done, and you just tell them, you have no power over me. I forgive you. And there's so many movies, especially, like, I think Tyler Perry had did a movie about abuse and misuse, because this what happened to someone, so then they do it to their kids, and we do that. And a lot of families is affected nowadays because of hurt, pain, and abuse. And now it's passed on, to us. But we do not have to be our ancestors. We do not have to experience what they experienced. We can go forth. Just do it. That's all you have to do. Just do it. So once you acknowledge your feelings, and recognize and accept the emotions. See, we still in those emotions, and emotions can shape us to be powerful, or it can shape us to be, a wounded animal, hurt, not worth anything, but we are worth something. And you have to face yourself and tell yourself, I am worthy. I'm more than a conqueror. There are words that you could put in play in order to help you grow, to heal that wound. Okay? So we got those steps in. You have to acknowledge your feelings, self-reflect. You reflect on whatever situation that you went through and try to figure out what is what. And then take the time to think about what happened and how it affects you. And it's okay to do that, because I did not understand. Like, I was adopted. So therefore I felt that I was not wanted, so, but with that, now I figure out like, oh wow, it was a purpose and a reason that I'm adopted. I'm placed somewhere, to learn more about life, about God. So now with this, I'm able to share with someone about my hurt, my forgiveness, that power that I had to take back, for myself, because I did not know that I was wounded. I did not know I was hurt. But because of the forgiveness, it allowed me to be free. It allowed me to heal, okay, and understand that all things work for the good, even though I did not see it, But my sister told me, she like, you need to heal, because I was bitter and I was lashing out at other people because I was wounded and I was hurt. I was in my emotions, I was in my feelings, But I'm here to testify, to tell you that because of forgiveness and letting it go, I'm healed. I'm healed. I'm a better person. I had to face myself, look within myself to be a better person. All right. So you reflect on the situation, you emphasizes about the offender, the person who offended you. So sometimes you need to go to him and say, look, you hurt me, you offended me. So therefore, what is it? Why? But you know what? At the same time, we good, But just because you done forgave a person, that don't mean that you always have to be um in their face, or you have to be around them. You just allowing them not to have power over you. That's what forgiveness is about. That's your power. Forgiving them, that way they don't have power over you. You done took back your power. You done brought back, you done called your energy and your power back to yourself. All right. So once you decided to forgive, and then you communicate about your forgiveness, then you just let go of that resentment. Okay. And then you seek support. You be around people who could have been in the same situation. Have you often wondered why some people do the things that they do? Is because of hurt and pain and unforgiveness. But we're going to take our forgiveness back. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take back that power and we're going to forgive. You hurt me, but I don't have to fool with you. I don't have to fool with you. I can learn how to work around you, be around, but not in your presence. And I still can work, as if, but in order to just heal, sometimes you can confront and confess, and let it go. All right. So after you done seek support, you can go and tell others, like, look, I've been hurt. But instead of going around telling everybody else you've been hurt, what about dealing with that person? You can go to that person too. Not the intentions to beat them up, or to hurt them because they hurt you, but it's about forgiveness. You are the bigger person and you want to heal because you got a journey, you got a destination that you need to make. You got a destination that you need to make in order for you to heal. Now you get tell others how to heal, okay, from the hurt and the pain. So after you practice this self-compassion, you compassion against yourself to be a better you. So with this hurt and pain and with this act of forgiveness, what else could we do? How could we do it? So come in and tell us in this chat. Tell us, how could you deal with your hurt and pain? How did you heal from your situation? I had to just ask myself for forgiveness. And after I asked myself for forgiveness, and then my sister told me to go to that person and tell that person, I forgive you. Even though I didn't want to, but I did it anyway because she said I needed to heal. So once I went to that person and I heard their story and they told me exactly what had happened and the reason why they made those choices, then I decided, like, okay, because of their choice that they made, then this is my purpose. This is my reason why I'm where I am today. But first, it had all started with me asking myself for forgiveness, facing myself. And then I went to that person and I told that person I forgave them. And then they told me their story, why. Okay. And then after that, I just let it go. It's not that because I embraced them or whatever. No, it's just now, okay, I'm free. You told me the reason why and you told me what. So then I felt like, okay, this was for my good. So that's how I healed from the situation. And it take years. It just didn't go by because not only that, because I was feeling the way that I was feeling. Now here I am. I put those feelings on other people, and my life was shaped because of that, their hurt and their situation. So now I had to deal with a situation because they was in a situation. So now because of their situation, I'm in a situation that I didn't even ask for, you know. But because I could have been not even here. I could have been dead, gone, this and that. So I had to look at those aspects. So those are like some of the the practice self-compassions that I had to deal with. Like I could have not been here. And I think that's a great question. How did you heal from your situation? It took years because now not only that, and it takes about talking about. It's talking about the situation, being upfront and talking to that situation, then you would get clarity. So once you get that clarity, then look, that wound is healed. I mean, you still gonna be affected because it was something that you went through, but you don't have to let that be your ending. You don't have to let that be your ending. So now you don't grown from that. So that's what that is. Any other questions? Thank you for that question. I really enjoyed it. All right. So yes, I I didn't totally heal at first because I didn't understand, and it just took growth. It took living life while life be life, and other experiences as I went through after I had asked for forgiveness, and then life started experiencing. Then I start seeing the reason why I was in my situation, and it's for a great testimony. Because if I would not have went through that, then I wouldn't be able to stand here to help someone else with their hurt and their forgiveness and their pain that they went through. So now I have my power. I have my power because now I see that it was for my good. And some things are not for our good. Who asked to be raped? Who asked to get beat up? Who asked to be in a situation? Who asked to have a bad mother or a bad father? You know what I'm saying? So these situations is not our fault. It's not our fault. And sometimes we take that hurt and that pain within ourselves. And it's not our fault. Okay, go with your next question. So I have another question for you. Yes, please go for it. And I also have our word for us today too. So how do we deal with our pain, our hurt, pain, and forgiveness? So what's your next question? You have to practice forgiveness and let go resentment, and it's a process. It's not like it's, it comes easy because it don't. It does not. I'm not even gonna pretend like it's not. But the first thing you have to do is just recognize it. And that's what I needed to do. And I did not know that I was in pain and that I was hurt. I had to recognize it. But apparently my sister had recognized it before me. And so she the one said, go, go ask for forgiveness. Even though I didn't do anything wrong, it wasn't even my situation. But because I did what she said and I went and I asked for forgiveness, then I learned the story. So that's what happened. Okay, and I didn't understand why things were happening to me. Was I wrong for questioning God? No. I mean, who else we gonna ask? If we don't ask God, He's our Father. He knows all about us. And sometimes we are in situation, and I know in scripture they talk about Job, and the Lord says, have you tried my servant Job? He's blameless from everybody. So you was dealing with that, but you are his testimony. You are a miracle. So therefore, because of your situation that you went through, now you're able to testify and tell others, how did I get through this? How do I, overcome this? And sometimes we experience stuff that's not even our fault. And then sometimes God loves us so much, and He's like, okay, this is my child. Have you, I could, try something and they're gonna overcome it. I believe in them. I have faith. Sometimes God has faith in us that even though we may be going through a situation that's not our fault, He still has faith that we can overcome and that we can be overcomers and that we can have faith and believe in Him. Okay. So I didn't understand why things were happening to me. Dealing with, okay, so yeah, it's a lot of things that happen to us, and it's not even our fault. And it's not wrong to question God, because whoever you gonna question, I mean, you asking your father a question, and who else you gonna ask? You know, when you, this so crazy that people don't understand about prayers. When you have prayers, are you not asking questions and talking and communicating with God? That's what's happening. You asking questions and you communicating with Him, and you praising Him for bringing you thus far. So it's nothing wrong with, questioning God. You know, Lord, okay, why me? And He say, why not you? You're my child. I know that you're gonna overcome in this. You're gonna master this. This is nothing for you. You are strong. You are powerful. Everybody He can't give these challenges to, because they would break down. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't even make it. They wouldn't even know how to handle it. But sometimes we things happen to us and we don't see in our future. You know, where this is going at this time. You know, so it's not, you're not wrong. Don't ever feel that you can't talk to God about anything, because you can. He's our Father. You know, it's so crazy. Um, so I was working yesterday, and some kind of way I lost my phone, and so I just went everywhere, backtrack. When I backtracked, I could not find it. Lord, what did I do with my phone? So I stopped and I just started praying, Father, I don't even know where all I've been, but I don't know where my phone, and I need it. So please just lead and guide me and direct me. And little did know, when I looked, I seen someone and they looked at me and they was looking strange. I say, oh, don't worry, I'm searching for my phone. They say, is it black? They say, oh yeah, we found it. I say, thank God, thank God. So sometimes, right there, that was my testimony. I was able to testify to others, to people who didn't even know, the strength and the power to overcome, and like, wow, you do answer prayers real fast. All right. So any more other questions? That's a good question. I like that. Thank you very much. Um, yes, yes. So it is not wrong. You want to talk to Him all the time as you walk along the way. And there's so many ancestors and testimonies that have been written in the Bible about how people walk with God, and they had experiences, they had trials and tribulations, like Job, and he still came out, you know, believing and trusting in God, even though he would, you know, went through all kinds of stuff. And he said also, he said, why would we, how could we not expect the good? And how do we only expect the good and not the bad? We're dealing with God, and a lot of people get upset about that they think that because you have gotten in a relationship with God, that your road and your journey is supposed to be smooth. Like, you don't supposed to experience nothing. Not all the time. That look at His path. God's path was not great when He became flesh on this earth. His path was not great. His own people, you know what I'm saying? They never try to, well, matter of fact, they tried to do Him in, which they did. His own kind, your own people, the church did you in. And that's not good, because that's where we're supposed to go, to find help and peace and sorrow. But at the same time, them was the same ones that had did him bad. And that's the church. And that's sad to see, But now, as you see, a lot of people that's in worship, go, they are wounded people. The church is like a hospital, even though we the church, but the building itself where we go to worship is supposed to be there for people who want to be healed. It's supposed to teach us how to be healed, how to deal with all the hurt and the pain, and how to learn how to forgive, and how to deal with situations as we travel to and fro on this earth, as we go back and forth. Any other questions? Y'all been a great audience. My honey bunnies. Yes, yes. My loves. I appreciate y'all here in this chat today. But yes, it's crazy about life. And it's crazy about, a lot of people is wounded. And a lot of people that go to worship is hurt. A lot of people that believe in God is not, in a building, but they still believe in God. And I have came across people who are mad at God all because they prayed, and other people have um you know left this earth or gotten sick, and so people prayed and prayed and prayed to be healed, and they did not receive that healing, so they were mad at God. But we don't know our day and our hour or when we're going to leave this earth, so he just always tell us to be ready. So that's where it's at. You have to be ready whenever the time is coming. We don't know the day nor the hour. We just have to be staying ready. Make sure everything is, you forgive, forgiveness is in order. All the things that you're supposed to do is in order when it comes to being reincarnated back on this earth. So, yeah. Any more? Thank you, Kitty. So, yes. So, let's go back over and then we give our word, encouragement for today. So, how to practice forgiveness and let go of resentment. You have to recognize the value of forgiveness. You identify what needs to be healed. You determine what forgiveness and who you want to forgive. All right. And then you also, have a support system or a counselor. Um, and or therapists. A lot of people go to therapy, and you acknowledge your emotions. It's okay to say that, you hurt me, you forgive me, you know, or you wounded me. And then you choose to forgive. And that forgiveness is not for them, it's for you, because you need to heal. That way you can go further in life. It's also a testimony. So whenever you go through something or you're about to enter into something, at least you already experienced it. That way you can know you can go further in life. And then you release. You release that control over you. They no longer have control over you. Okay? So let's get our word for today. I'm so proud of y'all. So this is how we have the power to forgive. You have no power over me. I forgive you. That don't mean that you have to fool with them. It's more so about you being healed. Okay? So your word. Faith can move mountains. So if you have faith and you believe, and you had that forgiveness in you, it can move mountains. You free, you free. So now you no longer, have to think that this would hurt you. It won't hurt you because now you don't overcame it. You're better than them now. Now that's on them. And it's hard because it do affect our lives. It do shape us, but we know better now. Okay. I am saved by grace through faith in his word. Okay. In God's word, that's what matters. You put that word in you, and that's your shield. That gives you faith. That's your sword when you speak it. You speak those words over yourself. I am more than a conqueror. I am. And whatever you are, that's what you are. If I am angry, I'm mad at them, I'm not going to let it go. And then all of a sudden you have all this look on you that's mad and angry, and that's your look, because you haven't let that. It's a spirit. You let that spirit go. You're beautiful. Don't worry about that. All right. So I am strong. Yes. And you are courageous. And you are amazing. Okay. Strong, courageous, and you're amazing. So those are the things you are to tell yourself, regardless of what. Sometimes people they get tattoos. I am enough, or I believe that. They just give words of inspiration to help them and shape them. That way they can go further in life. All right, my loves. Well, blessings and peace into you until we see each other again. Stay tuned on this inspirational journey. I am here to show you the way, the truth, and the light. All right. Blessings. Have a good one, my loves. See you next time.